Okay, so today we're finishing out the discussion on Fishman Island, and oh man, even though I'm doing the second half of the arc and I've split it up in a way where there's less chapters covered in this video, I can already tell that this one's going to be longer because I have so much to say. I have so much to say about this arc as a whole. After we get through discussing the moments, just talking about the arc as a whole, I loved this arc so much. I have such high praises for Fishman Island. If you don't make it to the end of the video, I'm going to save most of what I have to say for after we discuss all the moments and now we're ready to discuss the thing as a whole, right? It's all going to be at the end. But just in case you don't make it to the end of the video, I genuinely think that this is one of Oda's most masterfully written arcs yet. Marineford I still think is the most masterfully written. Water 7 I still think is the most enjoyable to read. But honestly, Fishman Island makes my top list. It's probably hanging out around I don't know, 7, 6, 8, somewhere in that range. I don't know, I'll rank them someday maybe. But it's really high up there for me. I genuinely am blown away at the craft of this arc. I think it's brilliant. I have so much to say. Not only do I think that it was just genuinely really enjoyable and the most beautiful arc I've read yet, but I actually think that the execution of themes is not only one of the best, if not the best, execution of theme that Oda has done yet. One of the best for sure that he's done yet in the series, but I also think that it's one of the most masterful execution of themes that I've read in fantasy as a whole, full stop. I'm genuinely blown away by this arc. And I'm so excited to talk about it. So, okay, let's go into. I left off in the last video at the end of Jimbe's flashback about Fisher Tiger, getting more depth on him. I hope I'm going to be more articulate in this video than I was in the last. I'm gonna try real hard. But if you haven't already seen that video, you can if you want to. I'll link it there and in the description, or well, Corey will if he remembers. But anyway, it'll be linked somewhere, hopefully. But this is the second half of the arc taking place after that Fisher Tiger flashback and all the nonsense that comes. So this part of the arc kicks off with Mr. Jones proving to us that he is a worthy adversary. Oh my goodness, I will die on the hill that Jonesy is an excellent antagonist. I know one of the things that people criticize about this arc a lot is the antagonist, and I respect that to an extent, but I will fight. And we'll get to my fight words soon. But as of right now, we're just talking about moments. So we start off with Jonesy proving how intense he is. Let me explain. Forces the Fishman people to step on the face of their beloved ruler that was fighting for peace, and that was a symbol of forgiveness and peace and what they were trying to move toward, the future that they could see. Step on the face of that ruler to prove that that is in the past and that you are no longer loyal to her. Broadcast a captured and humiliated king and take credit for it and show that, you're taking over his throne. Threaten and declare that you will execute the king, not threaten, declare that you will execute the king in front of everyone. Now making them have to step on the face of the queen and showing in front of you, I'm going to execute your king, so that there is no quabbles, no hesitation of the fact that I'm your new dictator and you have no say in it. Drown the Straw Hats. He's captured 3 of them and they will now drown in front of everybody too, I think. I'm not sure if there's a transponder snail in their area. But anyway, he's gonna drown some people that are his opposition. Then he finds the contract thingies, the papers that everybody signed for the queen so that she could bring them to the surface and take that first step take the next step into harmony with the humans, finds those, goes through the papers and says, I will also be executing every single person that signed one of these papers. When going through the list of all the things he's gonna do, that's intense antagonist stuff. That's intense villainy. But when he got to the papers, I got literal chills. Physically, my body shuddered when I got to that line. Because the idea that these people were not acting in opposition to him. At this point, they don't know him. At this point, he's not in their minds. They know their rulers and they're acting according to their rulers. It's not like he took over and said, this is the new law. And then there was this underground of people who were trying to go against him and he found them and now he wants to execute them. This is people that didn't know about his new law because it hadn't been enacted yet. And he looks at the past and says, anyone who once partnered with the queen when she was still your ruler, when I was still not here, you're gonna be killed too. And genuinely, that's so chilling. You know, being in that moment with the Fishman and hearing that, like imagining myself being one of the people that signed these papers that backed the queen and knowing that no action that I could take right now could save my or my family's lives. I can't forsake my previous rulers. I can't turn my back on them. I can't pledge loyalty to him. There is nothing I could do to protect myself and my family. We will die because our names are on those papers. That's genuinely so chilling. Anyway, I'm gonna try real hard to be concise. I fail. I know I do. Moving forward, he also says he's gonna come after Luffy because Luffy is his one true opposition. So anyway, then we cut to Robin. And I don't know how I feel about Robin being other in this entire arc. You know, we've spent a lot of time with our Straw Hats apart. I kind of expected more time with them together in this arc, but that's virtually not here, especially once we get into Fishman Island. You know, they're separated. These people are gonna die. Luffy's off doing his own thing. These people are fighting, and Robin's just like living her life. And I have thoughts on that. We'll talk about it when we get to the end. But I will admit that every single scene of Robining is my favorite scene. When Robin is exploring, did I say this in my other review? Forgive me if I said this in the other one, but it's still true. When Robin is exploring, when she's looking around a new area that's seeped in history, the sheer peace that comes with that is so lovely, you know, like the chaos that's going all around in every other panel with every other character. I can feel it and I can hear it and it's in me as if I'm there. And then we switch to Robin and it's like everything goes quiet. It's like I can feel the peace and the serenity and just this is what I'm meant to be that comes from Robin's panels. We're gonna get more information on the glyph later, so I guess I'll just leave that there and we'll talk about it more in a little bit. So next we find out that the reason Jimmy Boy did not want Luffy to go after Hody is because it's so smart, it's so good. I'm genuinely everything just awes me about this arc. Jimbe didn't want Luffy to fight Jones because of how it would look. There's already so much division between the fishmen and the humans, and it's only being made worse with what Jonesy is doing by executing the queen, framing a human, by killing the rulers and taking over and, you know, forcing further segregation on them, forcing them to either hate the humans or be killed, right? So Jimbe's thing is, if you just fly in there and kill him, he's a martyr and you're backing up the ideas. Like, it will look like you're backing up the ideas that he's pushing. So I loved that moment because it's like, man, he has a point. I want Luffy to go in and kill the bad guy, but he has a point. And Jimbe's idea here, which we don't know immediately, wasn't don't kill Jonesy. The idea was think before you act. Do it in a way that will be successful, not in a way that will be misinterpreted and further the divide. Oh, it's so good. It's so good. It's so good. But Luffy doesn't understand all the nuances of it at first whenever Jimbe first presents all this. So they fight, which was fun. I love it. Oh yeah, and then Robin steps in the middle of the fight and just says, that's enough now, or something like that. And then Sanji gets the hits instead, which honestly I'm just not mad about in this arc. And there are so many little sneaky moments, like it was the first saga. It was Arlong, oh my golly, it was Arlong Park, wasn't it? It was Arlong Park when we had this almost exact same scene, except different characters in it. And this whole arc is a parallel to Arlong Park. There's so many little Easter eggs that Oda puts into this series. Anyway, it was so good. It was so good. And I love Jimbe so much. I love the constant wisdom that he brings to the table. And I honestly feel like Jimbe is like a big brother to Luffy, which kind of, because we just lost Ace. But I feel like he is. He plays that role because he's constantly looking out for Luffy and he's constantly stepping in. You know, do you remember Impel Down when Luffy was about to throw everything away to fight Blackbeard and Jimbe stepped in between them and he was like, don't lose focus, Luffy. This is not the time. And we have so many moments like that of him. And this is another one of those moments where he just steps in between Luffy and he's like, I know you're a man of instinct, but this is not the time. This is a time to think and to focus on what we're doing here. And honestly, there's so many parallels between Jimbe and Vivi as well. And I'm very excited to see what Oda does with that, because it feels so intentional. Like when Vivi had Luffy bow, like she insulted him in Drum Island, I think, and they were trying to enter the island and Vivi had him bow, and this was like one of the few times where Luffy was ready to act and then stopped and took the counsel of someone else and said, you're right, I'll slow down and I won't fight here. And we actually got a couple of those in Drum Island, which I loved. But anyway, this is another one of those moments where Luffy was ready to fight. He was ready to go in and save the day. And Jimbe said, stop. Don't move right now. Think and plan. And then later, which now I'm out of order, but sorry. But later, when Luffy asked Jimbe to be a part of the crew, and Jimbe, he says yes, but not right now, which I have a lot of thoughts on that. He says yes, but not right now. And then he says, I have something I have to do first. I'll come back. And when I do, I hope you'll accept me into the crew. That's basically what Vivi says. And I do believe, I have a lot of reasons, I'll explain them. I do believe that Jimbe is going to join the crew. There's setup that's happening here. So I do believe he's going to join the crew. I have given up on my dream that Vivi would someday join the crew. I think that she was just saying, I hope you'll keep me as your friend. But there's parallels between these two, which makes me think it's possible that she could join the crew, or maybe Oda's doing just like a two sides of a different coin. What? Different sides of the same coin. Okay, what happens next is chaos. Chaos is what happens next. The princes join the fight, and I'm so glad they do. I love seeing them fight for their country, for their kingdom as well. Mr. Jones's forces are strong and terrible, and we get our first hint that these Superman pills are not just giving his people some immeasurable stakes, immeasurable strength, consequence-free. There's clearly something that's killing him, some sort of component to that as well. It's stealing his life away. But we get our first hint of that. We get our first glimpse into his true weakness. And then everybody's captured and everything looks hopeless. Enter Luffy. Well, actually first enter my mermaid prophecy girl. I love her so much. I love her so much. She reveals that Luffy is the one that could destroy Jonesy, and that everybody starts having hope in Luffy, which makes Jonesy mad, so he tries to kill her. Princess Pinkhair reveals that she knew the whole time. Well, Jonesy reveals that he was the one that killed the queen. Princess Pinkhair reveals that she knew the whole time that Jonesy was behind it, but that she was fulfilling her promise to her mother to not let the hatred penetrate through the generations, not let that be taken over, which was her entire mission, which was Fisher Tiger's entire mission, to not let this hatred and this anger that is well-deserved just continue to seep into further generations and continuing the cycle. The themes in this arc are so powerful. But I really, really love this scene for Princess Pinkhair because it puts her as a direct parallel to her mother. It shows, not parallel, it shows that she is fulfilling her mother's dream, that she is stepping in her place and becoming what her mother wanted, the embodiment of what her mother was trying to do, and it's really, really beautiful. I also want to take a note right here because this is the part where, according to my notes, where it's revealed that the Noah is an ancient relic. What does it say? Hang on. A ship was built in an age long gone. There's so much foreshadowing in this entire arc over Princess Pinkhair, over the prophecies. Like, there's so much foreshadowing and so many hints that this is all tied up into the 100-year gap in history that Robin is trying to research, and that I'm sure has a very big impact on us. I have a couple of theories, but there's so much foreshadowing all over this arc for the big reveal that comes, which is a wild reveal, but it was all over the arc before the reveal came, and that is just good writing. Anyway, now enter Luffy. And I do really love this line. I think it was by Nami, when Nami just appears. She used her theftery for good of this situation. Oh, I don't think I kept that panel. I don't know what happened. I don't know who said the words, but I do love that when Luffy enters and kicks what's-his-face, Jonesy, and then I think it was Nami, one of the Straw Hats, just, they all appear, they all pop up, and they're just like, well, who expected Luffy to follow the plan perfectly anyway? Of course he jumped the gun, which I love, but he did wait. He wanted to come in much sooner, but we needed these reveals first. We needed Jones to admit that he executed the queen. We needed the princess to be the embodiment of what the queen was trying to be and accomplish. We needed these things. We needed Prophecy Mermaid, my favorite mermaid. We needed her to expose that Luffy is the solution here so that they could look towards him. We needed these extra moments, and Luffy waited for them. And I just, it's so good. And then this panel, when Luffy says, "You decide for yourselves if we're heroes or enemies," I also love that throughout this whole thing, none of the Straw Hats are worried about their image. None of them care how they're going to be perceived. And in fact, both Luffy and Zoro deliberately fight against the notion of them being heroes. Luffy doesn't want to be cheered for. Luffy doesn't want to be considered a hero. Luffy doesn't want people to look towards him as their hope and as someone trying to rescue them, because he doesn't want to share the meat, which is just so good. It's such a great line. And it lines up with him so well, just that he's not looking to save the world. He's looking to just do what seems right to him in the moment, but he's also looking out for himself, and it's just his very specific moral code is so nice. And then later Zoro basically repeats that same thing except about booze. I also really, really like this moment right here where we just take a beat to acknowledge what Princess Pinkhair has been through, and Jimbe just kind of validating her and taking a second to make sure she's okay. This is a really sweet moment. And also there's that really cool moment when I think it was Jones that said he was going to be the Pirate King. It's like, oh. Yes, you did just try to enslave an entire people group and further the divide between them. Yes, you did just try to drown my friends. And you want to kill me. And you want to kill the king. And a lot of people I care about. But you want to be the Pirate King? Now you're gonna die. I think that's so funny. We get some really intense moments where we get to see our Straw Hats on full display of some of the skills that they have acquired, that they have built up over this time that they've been apart. My wonderful Kraken turns on everyone and fights alongside my Straw Hats, which I totally thought was going to happen, and I'm so pleased that it did. I love Krakens. I love the myth of the Kraken. I love what Oda's doing with this one. It's beautiful. Chopper's adorable as always. Frankie is awesome. You know what's funny? There were quite a few comments saying that most people don't like Frankie's level up, his new design? I don't understand that. I think his new design is awesome. And so do the boys. Look at their reactions to him every single time. It's hilarious and wonderful. We also get amazing, amazing, amazing character moments in the midst of the fight, like this one between Luffy and the Kraken. This one, like, it still takes my breath away because it's so beautiful to me. And then the absolute magnitude that is Luffy at this point. So we've been waiting, right, throughout this entire arc for however many chapters we've been here. We've been waiting to see what this crew is truly capable of. We got a little bit of that when they were fighting the Kraken and when they were trying to get down to Fishman Island, but truly we haven't seen them in action yet, not properly. And this moment when Luffy, with his haki alone, takes out the majority of the troops that are fighting against him and just walks through, and the other Straw Hats are cutting them down. Who's left? They want to fight too. They're cutting down who's left with such ease. None of their opponents are a true match against them, which is what it should be. I have opinions on this. We'll get to it when we get to the end. But the magnitude of this moment for Luffy, to see the sheer power of his presence. It's what I've been waiting for, you know? It's what I've been waiting for. It's what the 2-year time skip accomplished. And this moment is worth it. It's worth it. It's worth all the buildup. It's worth all the wait. We see, I don't think I understand this yet. Luffy kind of, it's like a visual representation of haki, yeah? Oda's just deciding to visually show what haki does in this moment. I don't fully get this yet. Feel free to explain in the comments if it's something that I'm supposed to understand right now and I just kind of missed it. More intense foreshadowing that I still don't understand even right now about the Noah, and that the ship, like, when Van Nasty decides to throw the ship and everybody freaks out, especially the king, because he's like, no, we're supposed to be protecting this ship until the appointed day comes. What do you mean? I have theories. They're very fractured and disjointed, but I have some theories. We get more amazing moments of Princess Pink Hair just being like her mom. When Van Nasty throws the ship and Princess sacrifices herself, at first she runs away so that she can lead the ship away from her people. And then whenever Luffy is going to destroy the ship, she does it again, where she is trying to tell Van Nasty, just take the ship, put it as a target on me again. Like, she's trying to protect her people. She's trying to protect the ship. It's amazing. And then it all ends up being stopped because she's a freaking ancient weapon. I guess I'm getting ahead of myself. According to my notes, I'm not supposed to talk about the ancient weapon thing yet. There's a lot of really great Princess Pink Hair moments. She's not my favorite character, but she has some really good moments. She's definitely an embodiment of her mom, in my opinion. A younger, less honed, I don't know the words to say here. Less polished version of her mom, I guess is what you could say, but she certainly is stepping into her mantle, or taking up her will, one might say. I don't know. There's nothing in the text that says she did that. But first, we have a lot of really good moments of the Straw Hats fighting. So I really love these whole page spreads that Oda does when our Straw Hats are really showing off. We go through just a cycle of seeing our crew doing what they can do, seeing them in action, seeing the magnitude of what they've learned and their power, and I can't wait to see more of it. I love that we just get a glimpse in this one. I think we could have used more, but I love that we get a taste of it, and I'm sure we're just going to keep adding to that more and more and more in the new world, and I'm thrilled. I'm so excited for it. Some of my favorites, it's hard to say. I really, really like this Usopp one. I mean, I love everything that Zoro does, and seeing Nami in action is always wonderful because Nami is such an incredible character that kind of just ends up being a background character way too often, in my opinion. But I really love this Usopp one because it's such a parallel to... When was it that... I think it was Arabasta, when he was fighting that mole lady. And I love this because it's very clearly showing how our crew is taking the knowledge that they gained when they were with us and building on it and learning. And it's not just that they got a power up. It's not just that they're stronger now. It's that they're also smarter. It's that they've also learned from where they've come from and see something in front of them and just use their new skill with their old knowledge and take it out. And it's amazing. Also, I don't remember, is the Chopper moment? I guess it's coming up. Can I talk about it right now? Is that fine? The moment where Chopper, actually there's so many nice Chopper moments showing, again, progress from before. Was it Drum Island when Chopper was called a monster and that really weighed on him and was heavy for him and held him back in a lot of ways. And then seeing back in Jimbe Island when Sanji was like, yeah, he's basically a monster, and that word being used in a positive and accepting light. And now we're here. My boy Zoro is checking up on him and saying, are you okay, man? It says, no, I don't mind. I used to want to be a human, but that was just so I could make friends. Now I want to be the kind of monster that can help out Luffy. Stop it. And then later, when he goes into his full monster mode, and I think it was Usopp that was like, surely this is not necessary at this point. And he goes, don't worry. And it's like, he's in control of his full monster mode. He has all 7 of his forms now, and he's mastered them. And it's so satisfying. It's so satisfying when we get these direct parallels, where we've seen them struggle, where we've seen them learn. And now it's like, it's so much better than just, oh, cool, they learned a new skill. No, it's like we see where they've come from and where they've come to from that. It's so good. Anyway, with these full spread fights, it's not lost on me that Jimbe is in the full spread fights. So this was the moment where I was like, Jimbe's gonna join the crew. For these full page spreads showing off their ability, we go through the Straw Hats and Jimbe isn't left out. He's mixed in. He's not even put at the end. He's mixed in with them. And Oda is an intentional guy. And when I saw him get mixed in with the Straw Hats, I was like, Jimbe's joining our crew. And I have been asking Jimbe to join our crew for a really long time. Since Impel Down, I've been asking him to join our crew. And I'm so happy that Luffy finally did too. We'll talk about it. There's also tons of parallels. I keep saying that. There's tons of parallels all throughout this arc. But this moment right here where you see, this is part of what's so satisfying about this arc, is there was so much setup with the Knot Island. I don't watch the anime. I never see these things pronounced, and I'm dyslexic, so these words are so hard for me. The Knot Island. There's so much setup, and Oda does not miss a chance for payoff with all the setup he does. It's so in the Knot Island, we have this exact image reversed. And now we're seeing with the Arlong Pirates, this new version of the Arlong Pirates under Jonesy, we see the exact same thing flipped, just further deepening these themes. Oh, did I mention that Robin can grow a new Robin? That's a thing. Wow. This whole chunk that happens here so several chapters ago, somebody asked Hody asked Mr. Jones, what happened to you to make you this way? What happened to you to make you so angry and vindictive and everything? And his response was, nothing. Well, now it's nothing. You know, back then when they asked that, I was like, oh, here comes a story. Here comes a backstory. Here comes more. But when we finally get to it and he says, nothing, I loved this moment. Is this the point where I talk about the themes a little bit deeper? It's gotta be. Or maybe I should talk about it later. You know, I loved this moment because honestly, I think that Oda absolutely knocked it out of the park with these themes between deepening what we know about Arlong and what he went through and what made him the way he is, and knowing what he did to Nami and knowing what he did to her village and knowing everything that happened in Arlong Park. We don't forgive him. I don't, at least. Like, he did terrible, despicable things. But each time we get more and more information on where he comes from and what brought him to the point that he was at, what brought him to that level of hatred, I'm just reminded over and over again that this character is not just a villain, that while his actions aren't justified, I do get it. It makes sense to me that he would break to that point because of everything that he's gone through. Then you have people like Fisher Tiger and the Queen, who are both fighting for the same goal, but in different ways. The Queen is fighting for forgiveness and harmony and peace, and it's noble and it's beautiful. And then you have Fisher Tiger, who is using force to try to fight for their freedoms, and it's noble and it's beautiful. You have her who is screaming for forgiveness and saying this is the only way that this can happen is through forgiveness, and she's the embodiment of forgiveness. And then you have Fisher Tiger, who is doing so many good things, freeing slaves, what he did with that little girl, taking her into her crew and delivering into his crew and delivering her back to her people. And then in his end, when he's shot, when he's betrayed, and he needs a blood transfusion, and he won't take the human's blood because his own hatred he can't let go of. Everything that the humans have done to them, he still hates them, and he can't let go of that pain. And it's understandable and it's realistic and it makes sense. But even in that, even in the fact that he's unable to let go of what's been done to him, even in that, he still doesn't want their hatred to be passed on to the next generation. He wants to end the cycle here, even if he himself can't escape it. That is so beautiful. And then you have someone like freaking Mr. Jones, who is genuinely an incredible antagonist. I started off the video talking about that. An incredible antagonist. And all this time, I'm waiting for his story and for how he fits into this masterful tapestry of a discussion of the layers of how racism and oppression and prejudices truly affect people. Waiting for him to fit into this tapestry, and when it becomes his moment, his answer is nothing. And I think it fits into the tapestry just perfectly, showing that when this cycle isn't ended, when the hatred is passed on from generation to generation, that this is what comes, a generation of people who continue the cycle and who continue to harm and to hurt. He's the embodiment of what the Queen was trying to stop. He's the display of what the Queen was trying to stop from happening. And he fits in just perfectly. I'm blown away. I'm blown away that it's not just a simple discussion. It's not just let's talk about something real that needs to be discussed. No, it was let's talk about every single layer of it that we could cover, every single way that it can be displayed, and not allowing any of it to be surface level. Going in deep for every single one of them, and all the different all the different parallels that go along with that. It's genuinely brilliant. It blows my mind, the level of skill at the discussion, the execution of this theme that he's trying to discuss. It's the most nuanced and brilliantly executed, one of the most nuanced and brilliantly executed discussions I've seen in fantasy. Oh, wait, let's not leave the brother out of this. He fits right into that tapestry as well, because one of the princes is also hanging on to all the pain and to everything that has happened to him, and actually even going so far as to say, we were too late to reach our people. This is what Mother feared the most. It's like, it genuinely blows my mind. It genuinely blows my mind. We also get a quick flashback of Whitebeard protecting the Fishman pirates. You know, he was their protection. He was looking out for them when he was alive. And getting that little flashback, that little moment of Pops, it really shines a light on how loyal we know that Jimbe was to him in Impel Down and Marineford. How how much he cared and respect. You know, we had hints of it. Jimbe mentioned that they weren't on the same crew, but that they had a relationship, that he knew him somehow. I don't remember exactly how he worded it, but he had a tremendous amount of respect and trust towards Whitebeard. And now seeing why and what that looked like and what Whitebeard did for them, the one human that they trusted, that they thought was good. Oh man. We also get this great moment with my prophecy mermaid. She's the one that gave the prophecy that Luffy was going to be the destruction of Fishman Island. And it's not something she wanted to do. She's not happy about this gift that she has, and she wasn't happy about the prophecy, but she still gave the prophecy. And then here she is in the midst of all this, trying to explain to the children and trying to break down the generational prejudices and trust the humans. That's just like, it's a tiny moment, but it's such an impactful moment to me. And this arc is riddled with those where it's just a snapshot. It's just a glimpse of all that's happening that just builds. It just builds. More incredible full page fights, getting to see these guys in like doing it, fighting, really, really showing off their skill is so fun. And then this final spread where they're all together and interacting, and you know, they're the same. They're just our crew. They're leveled up and they're powered up and they're different and they're stronger, but they're still just our crew. And it's really satisfying. Anyway, now we're at the point where Luffy was trying to break the Noah, and Princess Pink Hair stopped it and called to the sea. So here's the thing. As I said before, there's foreshadowing all over this arc for this moment. It wasn't a surprise. It was a surprise. It wasn't, I think it fit. It wasn't out of left field. There were so many hints. There was so much buildup for this, you know, showing that the arc is part of a history-long past. It must be protected until the moment to come, whatever the verbiage was. Shows us that, okay, we're talking about the 100-year gap in history, right? Okay, easy. So we know that that's what's going on. Then we have multiple instances of hinting that Princess Pink Hair has some extraordinary abilities. In fact, I'm pretty sure relatively early on in the arc, it's mentioned that Van Nasty is after Princess Pink Hair. Yeah, it is. Yeah. It was mentioned a while ago that Van Nasty is after Princess Pink Hair because, and has been after her since she was 6, because he found out that she has the ability to control the sea beast, which is a magnificent ability and actually finally makes sense for Van Nasty's motivations. Doesn't make it okay, of course, but like, I understand she's an incredibly powerful person, so bad people try to take advantage of powerful people and use them as tools. So then we had the king saying at least once, but I think multiple times, saying that she was awakening to her power, that had the power to destroy the world, right? It was there. The foreshadowing was 100% there. When it happened, I was like, I can't believe this is actually what's happening. But it made sense. It didn't come out of left field. I don't know how I feel about it, honestly, because even though I really want to like Princess Pink Hair, because I do sympathize with her situation, she's definitely like been through so much, being hunted down and her life threatened for the majority of her life, being locked away and essentially living in isolation for 10 years, her entire childhood stripped away from her, basically, watching her mom die, not being able to properly mourn her mom's death. I mean, she's been through so much. And then with all that pain and everything, her still being the embodiment of what her mother was trying to accomplish. It's really beautiful. But I mean, I don't feel connected to her character in the slightest. I'm trying to, because she's well written and all, but I just don't. So I don't know how I feel about her essentially being one of the most important characters in the entire One Piece universe at this point. But anyway, we also get a flashback of Roger having heard the voices. And we got this in the Knot Island arc, I'm pretty sure, when Rayleigh was saying that he could, no big deal, he could just hear all the voices in the world. What do you mean? Well, now I know that what you mean is that he could also hear the sea creatures' voices. We know that they can talk, and that Princess Pinkhair can hear them, and that Luffy can hear them, and now that Roger can hear them. And why? I don't know. I don't know. Here's the thing. Roger's mantle is being passed to Luffy, even if it's not in the direct correlation of Luffy inheriting Roger's will. It's been very clear in this arc that Roger's mantle is being passed to Luffy, from us seeing the flashback of Roger's hat, of the straw hat belonging to Roger once, getting passed to Shanks, and then Shanks passing it on to Luffy, right? That's very symbolic. And then we also see now this moment of Roger having been able to hear the voices. I don't know if he knew what that meant at the time. Luffy can hear the voices. He clearly doesn't know what that means at the time, but you have the obvious parallels of Roger being the Pirate King, Luffy trying to become the Pirate King, Luffy's fascination with Roger, Luffy's brother being Roger's son. Like, there's so many things that connect them, but there's also, it really just feels like he's doing something more intentional than just that, you know what I mean? I don't really know what it is yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, Luffy is terribly, terribly harmed, and now he is in a similar position to Fisher Tiger, where he's near dead, lost so much blood, and has a rare blood type. And then we have Jimbe stepping forward without hesitation and saying, he'll take my blood. The man who the fishmen look up to and respect on such a deep level, being the one to step up and take that first step, paving a new way of harmony between the fishmen and the humans. It's such a powerful scene. It's a powerful scene because just like that moment of them laying on the ground and the blood being transferred and the narrator's voice, you know, it's a really strong scene in and of itself, but then the symbolism of what's happening here, of these two men beginning the union, beginning the repair between the two races, is so powerful. It's such a powerful moment. And then this is the moment while they're laying there transferring blood, Luffy asks him, you know, join my crew, and Jimbe turns him down here. Jimbe turns it down. And I'm mad. I'm mad. But truthfully, this is even better somehow. Somehow it's even better. Because it fits his character, you know, not to just stop everything, throw everything away and run. But he has responsibilities. He has things that he's trying to do for his people, and he can't just abandon that. Again, being the older, wiser brother of Luffy, you know, not for real, but playing that role of, yeah, of course I want to run off to adventure with you, but I have other responsibilities I have to tend to first, but I will in the future. It's even better than if he joined right now, because it fits with his character so well. It fits with who Jimbe is as a man, and I love it. And the promise that he will join us, Oda's really good at delayed promises. He's really good at saying, hey, guess what I'm going to give you? Fishman Island in 200 chapters. I don't even know how many chapters it was. It was probably more than 200. I'm not holding my breath, but I do think that he's going to join the crew. I do think that Oda... So with Vivi, I'm not positive that she's going to join the crew but she did do the same thing where she said, I want to join you guys, but I have other responsibilities I have to tend to. But in the future, I hope you'll accept me as one of your own. So Jimbe's doing the exact same thing, but I do think that he's actually going to follow through on this one. I do think it's going to happen, which makes me think that maybe it could happen with Vivi too someday. I don't know. But I like a lot of characters. Oda's so good at his side characters, and there's so many that I would just love to become main characters too. Anyway, we had plenty of... I love that I just finished reading Skypiea, and in Skypiea, Robin reveals that there are 3 ancient weapons based off of these gods' names, and then now we're here and we see the Poseidon weapon is a person, which I don't even know the implications of that. I thought it had to be something built and created, but no, it's something that can be passed down to a human fishman, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do with that. But anyway, Joy Boy wrote an apology letter to the then princess of the Fishmen, apologizing for not fulfilling his promise. Immediately after we get that information, Luffy makes a promise to Princess Pinkhair that he will one day take her to the surface and let her explore the world. There have been multiple instances throughout this entire series, but especially in this arc, where they're saying that someone will come to fulfill the thing, right? I hit the mic again. Someone will come to fulfill the thing, right? So I feel like the timing here indicates that Luffy, I mean, I've been speculating this entire time that Luffy is the someone. He's the one that's bringing the new age. He's the one that everybody's been waiting for. He's the one that's supposed to be fulfilling all these someone will come to, right? He seems to be the one that's going to do these things. He's our main character. Of course he is. But he also just, it seems like he will. And in this instance, when they say Joy Boy wasn't able to fulfill his promise to the princess and someone will come to fulfill that promise later on down the line, and then immediately after Luffy makes a promise to the now princess, who is now one of the most important characters in the entire series, I'm just saying that he's the someone. I feel like there's so many abstract things that have been said about these glyphs that I need to go back and reread again, and I need to take notes on all the time, all the things that the glyphs are pointing to, because I can't wrap my head around it all. I'm not going to, don't worry, I'm not rereading again yet, but there's so much mystery happening here with this 100-year gap and with what these glyphs are showing Robin, and I just want to know. Okay, so anyway, I'm trying to wrap this up so that I can give final thoughts, because we've been here for a while already, but we also know that Lava Guy and Ice Guy fought it out because they have different ideals, and Lava Guy won. So Ice Guy, Sleepy Navy Guy, is now a free agent. Join our crew? I don't know what he's going to be doing now, but I'm excited for whatever it is. I can't wait to see him again. I can't wait to see what he is up to, because I still don't fully understand him. He's such a mysterious character. I'd love to know more about him. He's so powerful. His powers are so cool. Freaking Lava Guy, I'm not interested in anything more from him. But it is very significant that he's now in the position that he's in. And then this whole arc wraps up with a promise of what's to come, with Luffy making that promise to Princess Pinkhair. We see Tashigi and Smoker, so there's a promise that we're going to hang out with them some more, which I'm just thrilled by. We see the one of the four emperors, Big Mom, who is protecting the Fishman pirates right now, and Luffy, who is really great at reading the room, announces that he took all the sweets that were supposed to go to Big Mom, and then Big Mom is ready to destroy everyone because of it, so Luffy, of course, steps in the firing path and says, "No, fight me instead," and declares war. He does that a lot. He really, really likes to see someone abusing their power and then just declare war on them. So he did that. He did that with one of the four emperors, which, that's something. But I'm excited. I guess we're going to Big Mom's Island. I won't say next, but soon. And who knows, honestly, with the way Oda writes, who knows? He makes promises and then he says someday. So we'll see. But there was a timeline put on this, so it seems like it's coming soon. But I'm really excited about that because it looks like an Alice in Wonderland island. So, yeah, let's do it. Then we get a promise that we're finally entering the new world. The old log pose won't work. Here's a new log pose. It has 3 dials or 3 needles, and you could go in 3 different directions, and one of them is going to be easy, one of them is going to be medium, one of them is going to be hard, and the needles indicate what it's going to be like, and there are different seasons, and there are different types of islands, and the new world, the Grand Line, navigation is going to be so much more tricky, and so much more dangerous, and so much more ominous, and I'm so excited. I feel like I'm Luffy. When I got this information, and then Luffy tackled Nami, and he was like, let's go the hard way. That's exactly how I was feeling. I was ready to tackle her too. I'm like, let's go. This is going to be so much fun. Anyway, we've been here too long. But I do have some final thoughts on this arc. I've said a lot of them, so I'll try to keep it brief, but I do think that this is one of the most brilliant executions of theme that Oda has done so far in the series. But more than that, I think that this is the most brilliant executions of theme that I have ever read in a fantasy story. I think that it's so nuanced, it's so layered, he didn't let anything be surface level, he went so deep with all of it, and I think he knocked it out of the park. I have been told that one of the main criticisms that this arc gets is in its antagonist, and I have a lot of thoughts on this. I will give you that a lot of them are unimpressive. Each time, when all of our Straw Hats went against their opponent, you know, Zoro with the octopus, the greatest swordsman of the Fishmen, it was such an easy row. I mean, Zoro said it himself, you don't even have the ability to cure my boredom or something like that. Van Nasty ended up being a pretty disappointing antagonist for the captain of the Flying Dutchman. I was so excited. I was so excited for the Flying Dutchman to become relevant, and it ended up just being nothing. And Van Nasty ended up being nothing. I understand his motivations in seeing a powerful person and then wanting to take them and use them for himself, but he ended up being not very interesting or powerful or anything. Other than he was obviously a big part of the reveal of the Noah, which then led to the reveal of Princess Pinkhair. So awesome for that. But I don't know, his ability, the Mark fruit, was really cool. And his motivations for chasing after the princess were legitimate for an antagonist. So I kind of just thought that he would be more than he was, but he wasn't. Swampy is the greatest disappointment of this arc in total. I was really excited for Swampy. I thought that he was going to be the surprise thing that fulfilled the prophecy, you know? I thought that he was going to be the thing that brought the destruction to to Fishman Island that the Straw Hats brought with them. And he ended up being nothing. He was barely around. He tried to imprison some mermaids, proving that he sucks. And then in the end, when he finally was coming back around and he overheard the stuff about Princess Pinkhair, and then he tried to take her, and then they just kicked him into the stratosphere, and then bye. And I feel very disappointed with him because, one, he was useless. He had a decent enough setup. Why did we do nothing with it? And two, I do trust Oda to bring him back around because he brings back around most of his villains, and even the ones that I haven't seen him bring back around, he probably will. So I expect Swampy to come back, but honestly, Swampy has been such a disappointment of a character and a personality that I'm just like, I don't really need him to come back. Let's just let him be that one thing in One Piece that ended up being useless and never came back around, because I don't need him to come back around. It's not like when we defeated Crocodile and then he comes back around and it's like, it's Crocodile! I'm never gonna feel that way about Swampy. Watch Oda prove me wrong, but I don't think I will. But Mr. Jones is a great antagonist, and I will die on this hill. Not only is he truly terrifying in the things that he does to the fishmen, but him working into the themes of this arc by being someone who's causing so much threat to these people, all just because the cycle continued. It fits into the themes that Oda is doing so magnificently that I not only think that he's genuinely a great antagonist for the fishmen, but also that he is the perfect antagonist for the themes of this arc. Now, is he a good antagonist for the Straw Hats? I would argue yes. Sure, I never worried that the Straw Hats couldn't defeat him. I never was afraid that Luffy couldn't punch hard enough to kill him. But here's the thing. We just got back from a 2-year time skip where our crew has been apart for longer than 2 years. They were gone for all of Impel Down and Marineford. And then we had this time skip. So they've been apart for a really long time. And over these 2 years, our crew has been building up their abilities. So when they come back together, they should mow down their enemies. The first fight that we see them in, they should show off how powerful they are. They did it with the pacifistas. Did I say it right this time? They did it with the fake pawpaws, and it was so satisfying to see these opponents that took them down last time, and now they can defeat them with ease, was so satisfying to read. And now that they're facing a new opponent, they should defeat them with ease. That's the point of the time skip. They needed this time to get stronger because the Grand Line is treacherous and because the new world is full of bigger and badder enemies, and they needed to level up. So if they fought someone not in the new world, if they fought someone not in the new world, and really struggled, then I would be left feeling like, what was the point of the power-up? What was the point of the time skip? They needed to easily be able to defeat their next opponents to show how powerful they are. Then we enter the new world. Then we see how big and bad this new world is. I think that it's brilliant that Oda chose to leave us in Fishman Island, to take us to Fishman Island first, which is not the new world, which is not the Grand Line. Unless I'm misunderstanding something, leave us in the same area that we were just about to leave. Show how powerful our crew is now. Then enter the new world. Then show how big and bad the new world is. That's great storytelling. And on top of that, not only did we need an opponent that was easy to defeat by might, not only that, but Oda didn't just leave it there. He gave us a different kind of threat. We were never afraid that Luffy wouldn't be able to punch hard enough to defeat Jonesy. But the real threat here was Jonesy destroying the Fishman and not breaking the cycle, but rather continuing it, solidifying it, making it worse, making the divide that much stronger. That was the real threat here. The threat was never that the Straw Hats were going to drown or were going to get punched too hard. That was never the threat. The threat was the Fishman. And Luffy's goal here was freeing them and saving them from the fate that Jonesy was offering. And the wall that they were facing against, the obstacle that they had, was the ingrained prejudices that would mean that if Luffy just came in fists flying, then he would only further the divide because of the perception. He had to come in at the right moment. He had to team up with the Fishman. He had to do it exactly right. And the fact that Oda didn't start off the second half of the series, I mean, it's longer than half. The fact that Oda didn't start off the time skip with, oh no, are we going to defeat them? We know we're going to defeat them, but we have to do it smartly because this is a different kind of obstacle. This is an obstacle where we're not just facing who's stronger, but we're facing who's smarter as a tactician. And because we had Jimbe on our side, because the two races worked together, we got to win. I think it's brilliant storytelling. This is the most beautiful arc I've read yet. This arc is full, jam-packed with lore. And we had amazing Straw Hat moments. Now, it's not without fault. Most of the antagonists weren't impressive, were very forgettable. Some of them were downright disappointing. Jonesy was not, but the rest of them were. That's a shucks deal. We had amazing, amazing single fight scenes and fight moments, and we had amazing crew fight moments in this arc. I think we needed more. After the time skip, we were looking forward so much to seeing the crew come together again because they've been apart for so long in their time as well as in our time. They've been apart for so long. So we were so looking forward to seeing them come together, seeing what their new abilities are, seeing how the world has changed. You know, there's a lot that we're looking forward to. And Oda said, I'll get to it when I get to it, which is just his storytelling style. But I do think that we needed to see their abilities sooner in the arc. I think we needed more of that. And our crew was split up for a lot of this arc. They weren't all together for very much of it. And while that was satisfying in some ways because we got the big reveals that Robin was uncovering and we got some good moments, but really I think that our crew needed to be together a lot more than they were because they've been apart for so long. So the first arc where they come together, they really needed to be together. We got some incredible moments of the crew having, you know, fun, silly gags, just little moments that build on their character and build on their relationships, and that is what I live and breathe for in this series. But I do think that this arc desperately needed more of that because, again, our crew has been apart for so long. We needed to heavily lean on the fact that they are together now. So I do think that this arc has flaws. I think that the villains could have been better, not Jonesy, but the rest of them. I do think that we desperately needed more relationship, little moment, crew moments. I do think that the crew needed to be together more than they were. And just in general, I think a lot of the side characters in this arc are not up to what I expect from Oda. There are so many small characters that play little bitty roles in One Piece that Oda makes so impactful and that stick with me just as well as the main characters do. Oda's ability to write side characters is genuinely awe-inspiring, in my opinion. And I really don't think that there's a single side character in this arc that I love on the level that I love side characters in every single other arc. Every arc doesn't have to have this guy from Arabasta, or a Perona from Thriller Bark, or a Buggy from Orange Town and Impel Down. Every arc doesn't have a character that I just love and adore, but there's really no one that I latched onto extremely hard. The closest is the mermaid, is the Prophecy Mermaid, and I do really like her, but I don't feel like there's enough to her for her to be what a lot of side characters are. Anyway, what this arc does do, though, is it builds up so much lore for this world. There's so much for Oda to pull from in this arc and to build from, that I think this arc is such a stable piece of work that the series will only be able to step up from. It's really similar to Skypiea in that it's removed from the rest of the series. Skypiea went high, Fish Island went low. It's its own world, it's its own culture within the world. It has its own lore, its own traditions, its own everything. It's a very slow build that's a lot more focused on environment and on theme than it is on crew moments or plot. The villains, I think, are also pretty similar between the two. We have Enel, who is a good antagonist, I think. I have my problems with him, but he's a good antagonist, I think. But then all the side antagonists in Skypiea are generally disappointing. I feel basically the same way about Fishman Island. Jonesy is a great antagonist, but all the other side antagonists are generally disappointing. Did I already say this? It's a very slow build, it's a very theme-heavy story, and it's a very lore-heavy story where there's so much from Skypiea that has already been taken and built up on and made the world stronger and made the lore and the mysteries of the world better. And I think that Fishman Island is exactly that as well. Honestly, Fishman Island is one of my top arcs. I loved and adored every single moment of this arc. There are things that I think could have been stronger, but I think that as a whole, it's incredibly strong. I'm looking forward to what's to come. I can't wait for the new world. I think that Fishman Island set me up for a really incredible adventure, and I can't wait. Anyway, this has been long. If you've made it this far, thanks. Check out my Patreon if you feel like it. We talk One Piece so much there. I post videos every Tuesday through Friday. I'll see you again soon. Bye.